said, oh no, I can't have a black nurse.
Doctors and other health providers can be super racist, but no one talks about how racist patients are sometimes.
And she's like, he's a psychiatrist. And the guy goes, no, what is he? Is he black? Is he white? What is he?
Do black people feel pain the same way as white people?
I just witnessed medical racism with my own eyes.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So in today's conversation, we have this topic about patients not needing healthcare practitioners because of their race. So this conversation is uncomfortable but necessary. Imagine being a qualified doctor, saving lives every day, and a patient looks at you and says, I don't want a black doctor. What should happen in that situation? Should hospitals allow patients to choose based on race? Should the medical board step in? What about the doctor's dignity? What happens when that same patient urgently needs help and the only available doctor is the one they have rejected? In this episode, we are talking about discrimination in healthcare, patient rights, racism in America, and whether consequences should follow behavior like this. And I also want to ask you, have you ever experienced discrimination at work or in a hospital setting? So I have put clips together that I would like you guys to see, and then I'll be back with my opinions.
So at my former job, I had a patient, right? As I was going to get reports and assess the patient, he said, oh no, I can't have a black nurse. I don't want a black male. I'm like, what? You don't want what? I say, what is the reason why? I just don't want a black male. I don't want a black person taking care of me. Guess what? The patient is blacker than I am. I never seen this before. I hear of racism. I've never felt it. This is my first time feeling it. And guess what? I'm feeling it from a black person. I'm like, but you're black. Well, I didn't say that, but in my mind, I'm like, but you're black. Or maybe because I'm African black, because he's obviously an black American who was born here. So in my mind, I'm like, maybe because I'm African black, I'm a different kind of black. He said, well, get your supervisor. You can't take care of me. We called the supervisor. Guess what? The supervisor that was on shift that day happened to be a black supervisor. He said, what? She's black too? I said, yeah, she's black. What do you think? You think black people don't have top positions, don't get to supervisor, director positions? Yes, they do. Yes, they do. He was like, oh, okay, can you get somebody as your director? Well, my director was not available at the moment. So we ended up switching the patient to another nurse. And guess what? I had a pleasant shift because the nurse that had him was telling me that he was a lot of troubles, which I can't go into details, but I was happy that I didn't even have it because the nurse was running around. Unfortunately, I couldn't even help her because he doesn't even want me in the room. So it was so unfortunate, but I had a pleasant night. I'm like, you know what? If they can all say they don't want a black nurse, I'll just have 0 patients and I'll still get paid because you can't send me home.
So I had a new patient scheduled for this morning and he called to reschedule his appointment, which is not uncommon. It happens all the time. So we have a new receptionist at the front desk and she's telling me what happened. She's like, he called to reschedule, but I told him that you didn't have any available appointments until next year. And he's like, well, who can he see sooner? She's like, well, I told him that the only available provider right now would be the doctor who runs the practice. And then he goes, well, what is he? And she's like, he's a psychiatrist. And the guy goes, no, what is he? Is he black? Is he white? What is he? So she's like, I told him he was Middle Eastern. And he goes, no, I'll wait for the nurse practitioner. So then I'm like, well, did you tell him that I was black? And she's like, no, was I supposed to? And I'm like, well, if he won't see the doctor because he's Middle Eastern, I'm pretty sure he might have an issue with me being black. She's like, should I call him back? I'm like, yes, I don't want him wasting my time and I don't want to waste his. So she's like, but if he's okay with it, you're fine with seeing him? I'm like, absolutely. His beliefs do not affect the way that I provide care. I see patients on telehealth on a regular basis that have Confederate flags hanging behind their heads. But as long as you don't disrespect me, I'm not going to disrespect you, and we're going to get along just fine. I actually never followed up to find out what happened when she called him back, so I'm going to find out and let y'all know. So I'm sitting in the ER, and I'm on the computer, and I have my phone in my hand. So I'm on the phone. So I'm at the nursing station. And mind you, doctors sit there all the time, maybe to dictate or to put in orders. You know, it's very common for physicians in any specialty to sit at the nursing station. So this lady comes up to me while I'm sitting down on the computer, on the phone, charting, and she's like, "What are you doing?" In like a very condescending, disrespectful tone. I said, "I'm on the phone and I am working." And she said it again. Like, she ignored me and disregarded the fact I'm on the phone. She said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm on the phone and I'm working." "Are you seeing patients?" I said, "Yo, like, who's this lady?" I guess she was a charge nurse or something like that. And she literally walks around to the state nursing station and she's like looking to see what I'm doing. "Are you working?" I was like, who is this? Who is she talking to? And then she literally realizes I'm actually a doctor. And she's like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Oh my, So she like walked away really fast because she felt embarrassed and stupid. And literally, like, I've never felt so disrespected in my life, because I guess she thought I was a nurse and I wasn't working, and she was probably watching me for a while. You know, she was watching me for a while and noticing maybe I was sitting down and thinking I was a nurse or a tech or whatever. And it's just like, that's wow. That is crazy. And I felt so bad. Like, I was so shocked. And it's like they assume every black woman is a nurse or a CNA. And mind you, I didn't have those color scrubs on. I had the color scrubs of a doctor. My badge says doctor. So it's frustrating.
Should nurses be able to refuse care to patients who are violent, abusive, or racist? The reason why I bring this up is because I have been noticing a significant amount of hate towards healthcare staff due to skin color, or just patients blatantly being completely abusive to healthcare staff. Like, how far does patient-centered care supposed to go when you're being threatened during your shift? We're taught to be professional, we're taught to be neutral, we're taught to be compassionate. You know, how far can we be pushed to the point where we're being spat in our face, or, you know, people are yelling at our face, or being physically abusive to us? We're not punching bags, we're not robots, we're human beings trying to save your life or your family's life. You know, something really needs to be taken into considerations. Leave a comment down below, because I'm curious of what you guys think about this specific topic.
I just witnessed medical racism with my own eyes, and I'm still angry about it. A black mother walked in literally mid-labor. She could barely stand, barely breathe, clearly about to give birth any minute. And instead of rushing her to a room like any urgent case, these nurses sat her in the waiting area like she was here for a regular appointment. This woman was doubled over, crying out, gripping the chair, begging for help, and the nurses acting like she wasn't even there. They were shuffling papers, chatting with each other, walking around so casually while she was suffering right in front of them. No urgency, no concern, nothing. She was left sitting there for over 30 minutes in pure pain and fear. And here's the part that makes it even worse. After they finally decided to take her back, her baby boy was born 12 minutes later. 12 minutes. That means she had been in clear, active labor the entire time, and they just ignored it. The delivery ended up being rushed and chaotic only because they waited until the last possible moment to help her. Watching how slow and careless they were while a black woman literally fought through contractions in a waiting room, it made my blood boil. Because let's be honest, if she wasn't black, they would have taken her back immediately without a second thought. What I saw today was neglect, it was disrespect, it was racism in real time, and I'm not going to just pretend it didn't happen, because what they did was absolutely unacceptable. This needs to be talked about.
Doctors and other health providers can be super racist, but no one talks about how racist patients are sometimes. One time I was wearing scrubs, I had a whole badge on, and I was working with a patient, and they were asking me, like, "Are you homeless?" I was like, no. And like another time, one patient I was working with was literally like, how are you qualified to be here? Like, did you even learn about these things? I'm like, bro, I have a biology degree and all I'm doing is shadowing. Like, what else do I need to do to be qualified to be here? Having to deal with racism in all these different fields and all walks of life is honestly just so exhausting. But at this point, what can you do? Doctors and other
This is what happens when a black
People feel pain the same way as white people. A 2016 study showed that 50% of medical students and residents who were studied thought that black people couldn't feel pain the same way because they had thicker skin or their nerves didn't work the same way. Where is this from? It's a holdover from the days of slavery when white people had to feel better about using slaves. Black people used to be operated on without anesthesia and were used in studies without their consent, so this was a convenient lie. To this day, black people are less likely to get the same treatment in terms of pain medication. They're more likely to wait longer in the emergency room. They're less likely to be taken seriously. It's a holdover from the days of slavery. And in my field, this plays a huge role in the Black maternal and morbidity crisis. The call to action, doctors, nurses, anybody in the medical field, check your implicit bias. If you see somebody spreading these lies, stop them, but still stop yourself every time you're caring for somebody who has a different skin color than you and check your bias. If you are a woman of color, speak up. If this is happening to you, ask to speak to a different nurse, a different doctor, report them, speak up.
Okay, there you have it. So at the end of the day, healthcare is about saving lives, not feeding prejudice. Doctors take an oath to treat everyone, but who protects them from discrimination? If someone refuses care based on race, should there be consequences or should hospitals simply comply? I want to hear from you. Have you experienced something similar as a patient or as a professional? Let's keep this conversation respectful in the comments. Also, if you're new here, please subscribe, share this video, and yeah, you're welcome. We talk about real issues that people are sometimes afraid to say out loud. I'm gonna see you in my next video. Bye.